Hello, my name is Ashley, and I'm here to help you speed up your math. We're going to start with something extremely basic, which is double digit math from 11 to 19. Now, traditionally, when we do double digit math, we multiply the first number, if we can see this, we multiply the first number by these two numbers here. So how we would do it is 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1, or you could say 1 times 11 is 11. And then we do the same thing for the bottom. 1 times 11 is 11, or 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1. Then we have to add all this together, and we come up with 121. Can you see that? So this is the way that you probably know, and it's in your head, it's traditional. Now let me show you a faster way where you could do this without even using paper. I'm going to use the same problem because it's easier to build off something that we already know the answer to. Now we already know that this is going to be 11 times 11. We just did this. This is going to be 121. So now how would you do this in your head if you didn't know the answer? Well, the secret here is called cross multiplication, which means that you're going to cross multiply to get the middle number. Any number between 11 and 19, the answer when you multiply is going to end up being a triple digit number. So the goal here is to cross multiply, and each number that you cross multiply, you want to add it to the second one that you cross multiply to get this middle number. Example, 1 times 1 equals 1. You can hold these numbers in your head because it's pretty simple. 1 times 1 equals 1, and you want to add that result to the other 1 times 1, which is 1, and 1 and 1 is what? 2. Now, once you have this middle number, you can go ahead and just multiply down. 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 1 is 1. Now, you could have done that in your head. Crisscross multiply. 1 times 1 to get the middle number first. 1 times 1 is 1, and you're going to add that to the other 1 times 1, which will give you 2. And then you just straight multiply down. Now I'm going to give you one that's a little bit more harder. I'm going to build this as we go. Now most of us already know, because if you know the multiplication table, you already know that 12 times 12 equals 144. And like I said, I'm using these simple numbers because they're easy to relate. And since you already know the answers, it'll make it quicker for you to catch on to the pattern. Now, we already went over that if you were to multiply it the traditional way, it would be 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2, or you could just say 2 times 12 is 24, and 1 times 12 is 12. And you have to add all this stuff together to get, to get 144. That's the traditional way. The way to do it in your head. And remember, the only reason that I'm writing any of this down, we're doing this in our head, but the only reason I'm writing any of this down is to show you as I go along. Remember, we're going to crisscross, we're going to crisscross to get the middle number, then we do each side number afterwards. Now to get this middle number, remember, we got to cross multiply and add the result. So when we cross multiply 2 times 1, that's going to be a 2, obviously. And we want to add that 2 to the other cross number, which is 2 times 1 turns out to be another 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2, in case you're not following me. And we add that 2 times 1, we add that answer to this cross multiplication that we got to the answer to this cross multiplication. So just so happens they both end up being 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4. Then we're going to multiply down. 2 times 2, 4. 1 times 1 is 1. Now, I don't know if you recognize a pattern here because all numbers that have 1 on the end, you don't really have to go ahead and, actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. I'm going to wait. I'll show you that trick later. Now I'm going to show you something that's a little bit harder. We're going to do 15 times 16. Now, if you know your multiplication table, once again, you would know this automatically, but this doesn't count. This is just to prep you for the bigger numbers, such as 29 times 40 or 62 times 33. Well, right now we're building off of the teens. So, and the teens are done a little bit differently than those other numbers. Remember, it's going to be a three-answer digit. Now, you can do this in your head because you already know to crisscross and add your answer. Well, if we crisscross 6 times 1, we know that's going to be a 6. And we're going to add that to the 5 times 1. 6 plus 5, I'm sorry, yeah, 6 plus 5 is 11. Now, normally we will put the 11 here. I'm going to make another 3 columns, and this is only to show you examples. Normally we will put the 11 here, and then when we multiply this 1 times 1 is 1, we would have to add that other 1 from the 11. But because it's too soon to do this, because we can clearly look over here and see that there's going to be a number here that needs to be carried. So we're going to hold on to, in our head, we're going to hold on to the 5 times the 1 is 5, the 6 times the 1 is 6, and that's 11. But we see that right here when we get ready to multiply down, that 6 times 5 is 30. So the 0 goes here, and that 1 is going to have, that 3 is going to have to follow through to this middle column. So we know that this is going to be 11, and we're going to add that 3, which will make it 14, which makes another number to carry over. And since 1 times 1 is 1, we add that other 1 from this 14. And your answer is 240. And you can do this in your head simply because the whole thing of the process that I use when it comes to carrying numbers is called thinking ahead. Before I even multiply, I can already tell by looking at the 6 times 5 that there's going to be a number carrying over to that middle number. So that allows me to go ahead and just say 6 times 1 is 6, 5 times 1 is 5, add them together, that's 11. I know this is going to be 30, so I'm going to carry that 3 over to the 11, which is going to make it 14. So I'll go ahead and put down the 4 and the O. And then I know that 1 times 1 is 1, plus that 1 from the 14 makes 2. And this is how you do it in your head. Now I'm going to give you another one, and we're going to see if you can do this in your head. Eleven times 15. You should be able to do this in less than 4 seconds. Okay. Now, if your answer turned out to be 165, you are correct. Clearly, multiplying 1, and I hope you didn't use any paper, Kim. This is something, the whole goal is to be able to do this in your head. 1 times 1 is 5, remember, because we're cross multiplying. 1 times 1 is 5, and you want to add that to your other cross multiply, which is 1 times 1 is 1. 5 and 1 is 6. Then you do your down multiplication. You can look at this and tell nothing's going to carry over to this middle column to add to that 6. So you can see that 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. 165. I'm going to give you one more. It's going to be a little bit harder. Now we have 17 times 19. I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to do this in your head. Okay. It's always going to be a 3-digit number. Now, once again, we cross multiply, you add to get the middle number. 9 times 1 is 9. 1 times 7 is 7. And you're going to add that, the end result, 9 times 1 plus the 1 times 7, which equals 16. Now, clearly we can see remember what I call thinking ahead. Clearly we can see something's going to carry over. So we already know this is 16. And we're going to have to carry something over before we put that 6 in that column. And what do we carry over? Well, 7 times 9 is 63. So we'll go ahead and put that 3 there. We're going to add that other 6 to that 16. 16, which 6 plus 6 is 12, which will make that answer 22. 1 times 1 is 1, plus that other 2 is 3. The answer to 17 times 19 is 323. And to check this, we'll do it the long way. 63. 9 plus 9 times 1 is 9, plus the 3, plus the 6, and then 1 times 17, 323. And that is the traditional long way, and it's in our head. That's simple. All you need to do is hold numbers in your head. If you can't quite hold numbers that long, you will after a little bit of practice. Everything comes with practice, but this is definitely a shorter way. If you're taking tests, GED or any simple test where they have you to do double-digit multiplications, you will be able to soar through this because you don't have to write from here to there and this, that, and the other line after line after line and adding them up when you can simply just go through that in your head. Cross multiplication, 9 times 1 is 9. You're going to add that to the other cross, which is 7 times 1 is 7. You know that's 16, which the 6 is the middle number. And then you hold that 6 in your head while you multiply this. You know that's 63, so it's guaranteed that that 3 is going to be on the end. You add the 6 from that 60 to the 16, which is a 22. The 2 goes there. Once you multiply that, you see that is 1, and the 2 plus the 1 is 13. One more. Once again, we're going to do think ahead. We can look and tell that this number is going to cross over. There's going to be a number that's going to carry over to the middle. So in my head, I can look at this and I can see that this number is going to be 5 times 1 is 5 plus the 3 times 1 is 3, which makes that middle number an 8. But I see there's going to be a number carrying over to that 8, and because 3 times 5 is 15. So that 1 from the 15 added to that 8 is a 9. So we know those numbers are going to be 95. It's going to be the last two digits. Then you multiply the 1 times the 1 is the 1, and your total answer will be 195. So simple. You can do it in your head. That's a breeze. Crisscross, and you add the results to each answer that you cross. And you got it.